Good afternoon. My name is Pablo Mejia. I'm an agency development manager here at Google, and I've had the pleasure to manage the relationship with Silverlight Digital. But most importantly, I've learned from them about marketing in the pharma and healthcare space. I want to welcome Lori Goldberg.
Thanks for having me here today. I want to start by saying a little bit about our relationship and as a Google partner, and it's just been phenomenal. We've had access to data that we wouldn't normally have access to, and in turn we can then educate our clients.
This partnership has indeed been phenomenal. So I was wondering if you can talk a bit more about what the partnership means for Silverlight Digital.
First and foremost, we've leveraged the relationship by partnering with Google in their data in the healthcare and pharma space and to add more value to our clients. From a tactical standpoint, we've done educational seminars to educate our clients. We've done webinars to hit our global clients. We also have a weekly cadence that guarantees the account health and growth. And we've got dedicated account managers that we work with on your end to make sure that we're maximizing the impact of all of your products, whether it's search, mobile, the Google Display Network, or YouTube, to name a few.
Thank you, Lori. This has actually been a fantastic partnership, as we have really helped advertisers navigate the complexity of the pharma and healthcare marketing space with Google. Now, you and I have often discussed about the concept around the mystifying digital. I was thus wondering if you can share what you mean at Silverlight Digital by this concept.
Great. So demystify digital is not a new concept to us, but we take it very seriously because oftentimes clients come to us and it's our job to decipher all of the things that's going on in the marketplace, whether it's a new vendor that's just come into the marketplace or a targeting strategy or somebody selling XYZ data that we should be buying. It's our job as an agency to put that into a nice, neat package and sort of demystify this space so that we're making the best recommendation for our client and making it so that it's not that complicated in this very complex world.
Okay, Lori. So let's talk about Google. In terms of Google advertising policy and legal medical review, what is your experience in working with creative agencies and advertisers?
We often hear great creative ideas from both the agency side and the pharma company themselves. And they love this idea and they take the idea and they say, okay, let's go to market now. But there's a whole process and step in between, and that's challenging. It's challenging because there's a set of FDA rules that we as pharmaceutical marketing advertisers have to follow. And we have to make sure that the legal med review, both on the client side and your own Google policies, are in place so that we protect consumers and respect the guidelines from the FDA.
Great. And you're talking about ideas. I know you brought some examples of advertisements with you to date. And we want to show and analyze the evolution of marketing in this highly regulated space. So if you can share your thoughts on the following advertisements, this could be great for our audience.
To outline just how important the review process is, I thought I'd share some old advertisements that used to appear in popular magazines and newspapers before there was a review process in place by the FDA. So the first ad that you see here is a great indication of how the times have changed. Aside from the ingredient of cocaine, anything that refers to instantaneous cure will get rejected, both by LMR and by the FDA. There used to be a time when giving soda to a child might have soothed their stomach. Today, these images may struggle in the review process and largely be rejected by consumers. Here's another similar ad. Sure, the soda companies may want kids drinking soda earlier, but probably not the message that's going to succeed with today's consumers. The marketing of any illegal drug will not pass FDA approval, even if they're just used to soothe a cough. This is my favorite slide. Claims such as this are always going to fail in LMR, despite his claim of having 125 pages of testimonials. Beware of chemical companies wanting to prevent abortion and miscarriage, even if they cite their research at the bottom of the ad. Using babies to market cigarettes will not pass today's Google advertising regulations. Google's policy doesn't allow for tobacco or cigarette ads. It's still a problem, even if your doctor smokes them. False claims that tobacco use makes women thinner is going to be rejected. Hints at domestic violence, again, women is probably not a good way to sell tobacco. And sometimes the product is likely to be rejected even if the advertising is not. Online pharmacies are heavily regulated. Any website claiming you don't need a prescription is not going to clear LMR or your Google policy.
So obviously, Lori, you pulled numerous examples that are far over the top and typically don't exist in today's world. How do you ensure that marketers stay compliant in a highly regulated market?
Good question. We've been doing this a really long time, so understanding what will and won't get approved is imperative to a successful engagement. Sometimes our own clients are more stringent than the law will allow, so having a great understanding of how conservative or aggressive each of our marketers want to be will allow for speedy implementation. Working closely with Google allows us the ability to stay on top of this ever-changing landscape.
I've seen what you've done, and you're great at working with your accounts.
Well, thank you.
So if a company wants to start advertising with Google through Silverlight Digital, what is your process for bringing a new client on board to the Silverlight family?
So there's a couple of things that we follow. The first thing is the market research. So really understanding the industry benchmarks by vertical through the Google platform enables us to understand where the client currently stands in the marketplace. More important than that, actually, is the campaign setup. So understanding what the structure will look like, and then we can go from there. So once we set up the structure, it's what's the targeting, the keywords, the ad copy, all of the things that will help with the company's ROI. And then finally, getting a clear understanding from the client on what we're measuring and the analytics behind it, so at the end of the campaign, I can look at my client and say, we're all successful. I don't have to ask them if we're successful because we've set up these campaign measurements and parameters to begin with, and so we're all aiming towards the same goal.
So according to Lori Goldberg, where is the industry heading?
Today's consumers are much more likely to bounce from desktop to mobile than they ever have been, and that number is growing. Consumers are smart. They want a consistent presence when they move from device to device, as they don't differentiate their device and they don't differentiate their experience, so why should a brand? They want to be able to consume media in a way that's seamless to them, and that's why mobile is a device they should be investing in.
I'm glad you mentioned mobile. The mobile moment is truly now. For more information on how Google and Silverlight Digital are working to educate pharmaceutical and healthcare advertisers on legal medical review and Google policy, please contact Lori at silverlightdigital.com.
Great. I could be reached at lgoldberg@silverlightdigital.com.